Hello, this is the third video in my series on standards. This is using the NGSS. If you have not looked at the other two videos, do look at those two first. Let's begin. The objective for this video is that you will be able to follow the process of using the NGSS to identify performance expectations for your lessons. Notice that with the NGSS, they talk about performance expectations. In the Maine learning results, they talk about performance indicators, just a slight change in the language. Then as part of our class on Monday, what I want to be able to do is, given a lesson, you will be able to identify a performance expectation from the NGSS to generate your lesson's objective or objectives. So let's begin by a quick review of the NGSS. If you remember, there are these scientific engineering practices, and that is one of 3 threads in a rope that are woven together. Then we have the cross-cutting concepts, and that's the second one that is woven in together. And then we have the content areas, what they call disciplinary core ideas, and that is the third thread that is woven together into every performance expectation. So when you look at the NGSS, you have 2 tables of content to choose from. Same standards, but they just organize them a little bit differently. Let's review again. I'm just showing you 2 of the disciplinary core ideas for physical science, life science. If you remember, there's one for earth science and also for engineering. But if you notice, they have them numbered. So here's physical science PS 1A, 1B, 1C. Those all sort of go together in sort of a topic, and then there's 2A, 2B, 2C. You can see that they all sort of focus on forces and motions, and then and so forth, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3D. So these, the physical science, or all the disciplinary core ideas, are numbered, and they go across kindergarten all the way up through graduation. So let's look at the table of contents for kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. When you're looking at the table of contents by disciplinary core ideas. So you'll see under kindergarten, it doesn't even look at the PS1. It starts with the physical science 2, the disciplinary core idea that's 2. They cover 2 and 3. Life science is just 1 that is covered here. And so forth. Earth science is 2 and 3, and the engineering technology one is 1. In first grade, you see that they don't cover PS2, they pick up PS4, physical science 4, and so forth. So that is how the table of contents is set up by grade level and also disciplinary core ideas. The other table of content that you can choose from is by topics. What they did is, after they put together the NGSS, they arranged them by topics, thinking that it might be easier for teachers. And here you will see in kindergarten, instead of seeing PS, physical science, life science, etc., you're seeing topics, forces and interactions, pushes and pulls. Kindergarten, weather and climate, very different from looking at earth sciences. So this is the other table of contents. It will get you to the same area, which we will show you in just a second, but you get to choose. So when you first look at the NGSS, you think that it's huge, hundreds of pages, but actually it's just 2 ways of organizing the same standards. So let's go through the example that we did in the Maine standards. We'll look at this 4th grade lesson where 4th graders are modeling the water's role in changing Earth's surface. So if you remember, this was a lesson just quickly looking at erosion by water, and the students were going to set up an investigation. So let's look at the first table of contents by this DCI is disciplinary core ideas. So let's look at the grade levels. Remember, this is 4th grade lesson, but we're going to look at not only 4th grade, but 3rd grade or 5th grade, just to make sure that the lesson authors for the lesson plan identified the right level. So as we look at all of these disciplinary core ideas, it looks like under 4th grade, you could think about Earth systems or Earth human activity as pertinent to this lesson. When we look at third grade, we see that the same 2 disciplinary core ideas are there, as well as in fifth grade. So we're going to look at these 3 levels under these areas to see what performance expectation would come closest to your lesson, or the lesson that we're looking at. So let's look at fourth grade first. If we look at Earth systems, we're looking at fourth grade, it says fourth grade here, we see one that matches it perfectly. It says, make observations and or measurements to provide evidence of the effects of weathering or the rate of erosion by water, ice, wind, or vegetation. Now we're looking at water. So that seems to be right on target. But just to be sure, let's go to third grade. And if we read these 2 represent data in tables and graphical displays to decide typical weather conditions. That doesn't seem right at all. Or if we look at the ESS2, it describes climates in different regions. Doesn't look like that falls within our lesson whatsoever. Okay, now we're going to look at grade 5 to make sure that that is covered as well. If we look at the grade 5 performance expectations, here the first one is looking at geosphere, biosphere. That's not what we're looking at all in this lesson. And the next one is graphing the amounts and percentages of water and freshwater. Again, fifth grade does not fit at all. So it's the fourth grade performance expectation that fits. That will be the one that you will link to your lesson. You don't have to do any further check as far as that is concerned. But let's say that you wanted to look at the table of contents by topics. So let's look at the process that you would do if you were looking at the topical arrangement instead. Again, you should review a range of grade levels, not just the level your lesson indicates. So we're looking at fourth grade, which is what the author said the lesson fell within, but let's look at third grade and fifth grade. Under fourth grade, it looks like it could fall under Earth systems, processes that shape the Earth. It wouldn't fit under energy or waves or any of the others. Under third grade, it looks like there's one that is right on weather and climate. That looks like a good bet. And then in fifth grade, again, we have one that's looking at Earth systems. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start on the fourth grade level, and we will see that we have several of these performance expectations, 4 of them. And as we look down, no, we don't want rock formations, but here is the same one that we found under the DCI. Make observations or measurements to provide evidence of the effects of weathering or the rate of erosion by water. This one doesn't look like it fits, this doesn't, but this one again looks perfect. Notice that we used a different table of contents, but we got to the same performance expectation. Again, let's say that you're looking at topics, you should still go to the third grade to be safe. And again, we see the same ones that we found with the DCI, and those would not fit. We're going to the fifth grade, read these, they don't fit. So you're going to stay with the fourth grade one that we found that matched your lesson exactly. So whether you use the table of contents that lists the disciplinary core ideas, or you look at the table of contents that look at topics, you're going to get to the same performance expectation. So I would suggest that you just pick one or the other and go with that one. You don't have to do both at all. Now use the performance expectation to write your objective. So however you used it to get to your performance expectation, this is the performance expectation for the lesson we are looking at. So now a big hint, if you have objectives linked already to the Maine standards, just confirm they still fit. So here I'm just listing the objectives that we came up with in the video for the Maine standards, and I'm just looking. Students will pose an investigable question focused on erosion. Does that fit with within this performance expectation? Yes. And then you look at the others that you also wrote that match the Maine standards, and they all can fall within this performance expectation. So what you will do in your lesson plan is just cite 4-ESS2-1 along with the Maine standard ones. Some additional bonuses that I just want to let you know about with the NGSS, because I think it's quite great what they have added, is first of all, they have added clarification statements. So as a teacher, it's giving you some hints about what you could do. For instance, it says examples of variables to test could include angle of slope in the downhill, movement of water, amount of vegetation, speed of wind, relative rate of deposition or deposition, cycles of freezing and thawing water, cycles of heating, cooling, etc. This could help you coach your students in terms of coming up with their experiments. So these clarification statements can be very helpful. The other thing that you will find is assessment boundaries. Notice that it says assessment is limited to a single form of weathering or erosion. So you're not going to do multiple factors, it's just one single factor at the 4th grade level. The other thing is right underneath the performance expectations, you will see some more information about the 3 large components in the NGSS and some explanations of how they got to that performance expectation. So it just gives you some background information. More bonuses with the NGSS. If you scroll down under those colored columns, you will see that they list the scope within the grade level. They provide you with connections to other disciplinary core ideas in the 4th grade. So what other things are you going to teach in 4th grade that will be related to this performance expectation? The other thing they do is they give you a sequence across grade levels. So if you're on a curriculum committee and you want to see what the sequence will be across all the grade levels with this one disciplinary core idea, you will find it here. So you will see that K is for kindergarten, 2nd grade it shows up again in many places, and then you'll see that it's in 5th grade as well, 8th grade, etc. So you can really look at the sequence of an idea across the grade levels. Finally, you will see that they have listed connections with the Common Core. So the one that I've highlighted right now is with the literacy, ELA and literacy standards. So if you want to do some interdisciplinary teaching, you can actually demonstrate that you are also meeting these reading and writing ones. You also have the math ones, things that you are meeting at the same time as you are meeting this performance expectation. So the NGSS really provides a way that you can look interdisciplinary at with your lessons. So this is the end of video 3. Test yourself at this time. Were you able to follow the process outlined in this PowerPoint? If no, try to review it again. Come to class with specific questions that might help me help you, because I would like you to be prepared with a working knowledge. So in class, you will be able to take the NGSS performance expectation that links to your lesson involving the children's book and generate at least one objective, checking to see if the ones you generated for the Maine standards continues to fit. Take care.